Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an introduction here to Falcon JOAQUIN joining the game in just a few hours. Remember, there's going to be Red Star promotions for his respective shards, and on top of that, he is going to be the next member of the Liberty team joining right after Peggy Carter here. So, we're going to be taking a look at his kit. We're going to be taking a look at the T4 recommendations as well as what potential ISO-8s he can be slotted in if you guys are also interested in building up this character. So, Falcon JOAQUIN swoops in to fill speed bar and paints targets with taunt. So very similar to the original Falcon. Obviously, there's going to be some turn meter updates here in regards to what's happening with the team dynamic, but you can see he actually fills his ally speed bar when an enemy with taunt takes a turn, and he dishes out heals as well with his special and ultimate. So he's going to be that pseudo support character for this team, but as well, the speed up is a much nice boost, especially giving them the additional turns, right? War specifically, though, this is kind of where you want to be deciding if you want to build up this character or not, right? Remember, this is a war team. On spawn, he applies taunt to all enemies for 2 turns, so that's different and unique for any kind of inclusion in this game right now, just because no other character does this mechanic, which is very neat in this kit. And he shows allowing his allies to utilize their taunt punishing abilities. Remember, they get bonuses each time they are targeting a taunt enemy as well, right? His kit also denies immunity to enemies with taunt and deals additional damage with those with taunt. Yeah, so very similar to the rest of the team. And he also, on top of that, he generates ability energy with additional damage, and at the same time also reducing enemy speed bar, and has that safeguard mechanic too. So lots and lots of things going on with this character. You could argue that he's going to be the glue for this team, really, in terms of making sure the synergy works. And if you guys have got the update now in the game, you might have already seen this, but Havoc and Howard the Duck have been also officially added now into the game file. So just things for us to check out later on. But yeah, they're now ramping things up in terms of releases, because it's been a nice, enjoyable last few weeks here in terms of festivities. But now they are going to be ramping it up in terms of releases here. So let's take a look at his kit. Overall, I do love the skin, though. It's a really cool dark version of the Falcon, and big fan of it, obviously, and more modernized for sure. Red Wing Assault is his basic ability, so there's not a lot going on with this ability. He's just dealing damage to the primary target, and as you ramp this ability up, you can see it just does additional damage. What is notable, though, is with the basic at level 6, he does actually apply speed up to himself and all Liberty allies. So this is probably where I would stop. I don't know if it's worth actually T4ing using those precious materials to actually upgrade it from level 6 to level 7. This is where I would stop for the basic, just for a min-max standpoint if you're trying to maximize the utmost of your resources there. Brave Bird Dive Bomb. Attacking primary and adjacent targets for percentage damage, and in addition to that, the attack is also unavoidable. And what's neat about this ability is that it's going to be doing a few things in terms of a support and offensive standpoint. It's going to be flipping all the negative effects on himself, in addition, additional damage that's going to be applied, right? There's a heal mechanic that's going to be based on his max HP. So obviously, the more red stars, the more stars on him is going to make this a more prominent ability. It's going to scale with that. And then we finally start seeing some of those war bonuses getting added into this ability. So in war, at level 6, he's going to be reducing the speed bar by 50% on the primary target. Very, very notable. So if a character's about to get a turn, he can actually rewind that. So, I love that aspect, because you can control the enemies a little bit better, especially if you know if an ability is coming at you. And then lastly, with the T4, which I think is a must-have, especially if you're building this character up for war, he's going to be applying Safeguard for 2 turns to Liberty. That ensures that all the allies on his team are going to be able to keep those buffs, and they're not going to be stripped away with that safeguarding effect. So very, very notable here, and obviously adds a ton of value in making sure that those buffs stay on board with the rest of his team. So this is an upgrade for sure, only if you're planning to bring this team up into war. Otherwise, if we see them utilize in other aspects of the game, you might be able to stop at level 6 already, just because that doesn't use the precious T4s that we have. Ultimate is called Raptor Strike, so attacking the primary and adjacent targets for percentage damage. And similar to the special, this ability also does a heal, once again based on his max HP. But what's more notable is that he's going to be applying vulnerables now to all the adjacent and secondary targets. Pretty notable. And he also does reduce the speed bar by 25% for the primary and secondary targets. So the ones that are adjacent to him, also getting that speed meter reduction. So both his abilities having that impact is pretty notable. And also even his basic having that speed up. So almost everything that he does is going to be manipulating with speed somehow. So that's really, really cool. And obviously the big value add for this is that if you are to T4 this, he generates 2 ability energy for himself and Liberty allies. To be honest, this is probably what's going to be the glue for his kit overall. The ability energy is massive because it can be that difference in terms of flipping the switch on the battle, right? So I almost see his special and his ultimate as must-haves, especially if you're bringing this character up for the war-esque and the war meta here. It's gonna be notable if there's a legendary team in the future that may require this team, and maybe they have war bonuses activated. These are the 2 abilities that I'm looking at. So we'll see in due time what that's gonna look like. But for sure, special ultimate make the most sense. Air traffic control is the passive ability here, and this usually adds a ton of kind of supportive passive buffs around behind the scenes, right? So first time an enemy takes a turn, apply defense up to himself and Liberty allies. So that's notable. He's going to be giving that natural protection without even doing anything. Enemies with taunt take additional damage. We've seen that already with the other Liberty characters as well. In war, he's gaining additional speed until this character takes a turn. So he's already getting a speed buff actually in war, likely having a turn advantage against the enemies that we're up against. In war, enemies with taunt cannot gain immunity. We saw that in the preview already in the inbox. The first time an enemy takes a turn, he applies immunity for 2 turns to himself and Liberty, and once again kind of synergizing that safeguard meta, and as well as obviously the immunity giving that additional protection to prevent those buffs from this prevents debuffs from getting applied, so just that natural protection, right? On enemy with taunt turn, if this character has 4 more Liberty allies, he also does fill up the speed bar by 5% for himself and all Liberty. So this is a nice added boost there. And then again, very similar to the special and ultimate, I would only upgrade this if you're bringing this character up to war. In war, he's going to be applying taunt. This is the massive one. 2 turns of taunt to all enemies. And then as well, the speed bar, they can't be filled up for themselves here. So it's pretty massive, guys. Enemies cannot fill up the speed bar. The taunt's getting applied for all the enemies in the 2 turns. So yeah. Pretty massive, guys. Pretty massive, honestly. Special, ultimate, passive are all abilities that I would recommend. And there's going to be a couple ways you can do this, right? I think in terms of an ISO-8, because he's already naturally applying vulnerables with his ultimate. So you could very well just save yourself from using the skirmisher or raider on him, because he's not going to be dealing a lot of damage. I think the ISO-8 healer probably makes the most sense, since it's both his special and his ultimate does healing. The ISO-8 healer is going to push out the benefit of that ability and making sure that it actually maximizes the potential of that. But if you're more focused on an offensive option, for sure I can see the raider being an option. If you wanted to see more of this mechanic being applied to speed up, you can also use the striker mechanic as well. So that way he's always doing that secondary strike. But in the meantime, I think the priority is going to be healer. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you agree or disagree. He's coming into the game today, so pretty exciting. We'll see what the offers and whatnot look like. And guys, personally, I'm not power coring this team just yet because of the fact that we're not in a rush to get this team access to. But if you guys are interested in war, this is looking like a very, very strong team, and obviously switching things up in the war meta as well. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.